Well, earlier, Israel briefly suspended all operations at Ben Gurion International Airport as its military traded fire with Hezbollah. Planes that were diverted to alternative airports have now resumed their flights to and from Tel Aviv. Let's go to Nida Ibrahim. She is in Rantis in the occupied West Bank. So, firstly, tell us about the latest when it comes to the airport. That has now officially reopened, hasn't it?
Yes, and we've heard the sound of one airplane hovering over the village of Rantis, where we are right now. It's in the occupied West Bank, but it's a few dozen kilometers away from the airport and from the Tel Aviv area. And usually locals can hear the sounds of planes hovering over. This is an airport that Palestinians are not allowed to use. But we can confirm that we heard the airplane, but also that the Israeli official sources talked about reopening the airport after a brief closure. This is one strategic location that Israel was expecting Hezbollah to target. We're talking about the main airport in the country. And we've been seeing how the operations have been halted. Yes, some of the airplanes now have been delayed, others have been cancelled, but all in all, the Israeli official sources are talking about resuming the operations in the airport after a brief closure.
And Nida, just give us a sense of the mood where you are. I mean, how have these recent hours being viewed by the people in occupied West Bank?
Well, people here in the occupied West Bank feel that they're subjects, and they are often looking to see how the regional escalation, how the war in Gaza has affected them. Indeed, we've seen how the Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank, since the war started, intensified their attacks against Palestinians. And people have really feared that Israel would use, or the Israeli settlers would use, any escalation in the north that seems to be contained for now to cement the occupation on the ground, to increase the number of attacks against Palestinians, pushing them away from their lands and putting more and more illegal Israeli settlement outposts that often start with a caravan here and there and then move to become more and more regulated by the Israeli government, cementing themselves, their presence, pushing Palestinians really into very small areas, losing the territorial contiguity that they often talk about for a future state. So these fears remain very present, that Israel and the Israeli settlers, are implementing the Israeli government's plans that have not been a secret, that Israel was talking about annexing parts of the occupied West Bank. So people are really scared that any escalation would allow these settlers to get away with more land grabs and with more attacks against Palestinians.
OK, thank you for that update. Nida Ibrahim there for us in Rantis in the occupied West Bank.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.